There's a Facebook page claiming to be the central bank of the Philippines and saying it was established in a particular year. Of course, they definitively and expertly picked the year of the starting of the previous version of the central bank of the Philippines that doesn't exist anymore. It was superseded by the newest one. So they can claim somehow it's a hidden fact or something. Somebody posted the spam on my channel, so here's the truth revealed about the central bank of the Philippines. Because I'm going to do this, all of it. From 900 AD on April 21st, no, I'm not going back to the Big Bang yet, a self-dated Laguna copper plate inscription panel shows the first written ancient Philippine language document that states that it releases the children of some family from a salary-related gold debt of 1 kati and 2, I can't pronounce it, otherwise known as around 27 ounces of gold, which is a pretty good amount of money. That's they're released from a debt because it was paid back. That's a lot of damn money. The Philippines was a geographical area that contained multiple political entities in the same way that Asia is. But a few Philippines' maritime kingdoms, states, rajanates, and sultanates flourished and died on major river deltas. None of these are a basis for saying that the Philippines has a royal lineage that goes back X number of thousand years of any kind. Why? Reading on. Over a dozen small independent, I can't pronounce it, but I'm going to say barangays, alternated back and forth between being influenced by, trading with, being part of, or waging war with, or rebelling against the larger Southeast Asia empires. They were never independent except for a few of these larger kingdoms, and they were near the river deltas. And you have to look up which ones they were, and, well, there's a problem with looking that up. If you're going to make a claim to some lineage to any of those three, we have a problem. In 1380, these are references found in other sources, Markadum Karim, the first Islamic missionary, brought Islam to the Philippines, as we know it now, but that's based on a reference of where the person went and why and what direction. 1405, the Sultanate of Sulu became a Muslim state monarchy and had begun. 1500, the Bruneian Empire attacked an area that is part of now the Philippines. I'm sure that was a bug. Next, 1521, this is the first, well, the second earliest written record of the Philippine Islands' existence. Why? Because zealous Spanish Christian missionaries burnt whole libraries of any documents they found with any previous history. They're book burners. They destroy history. That's called history revision. It's done with the torch. Anything that was done there was labeled pagan and burned. Sound familiar? I am Scottish and Irish and French and English. So let's burn my birth certificate. Most old writing also was done on perishable bamboo or leaves, so it was lost over time anyway. Anything that was solid or whatever, like anything in brick or well, you get the idea. They destroyed history, because that's what religions do. Just like Islam is now destroying history in other countries. By destroying history, literally. All religions, no exceptions. I'm not a nice man when I talk about facts. Now we go forward to 1565, February 13th. Miguel Lopez de, I can't pronounce it, expedition from Mexico began the Spanish colonization, creating the first unified political structure known as the Philippines at that moment. So any history that says before that says Philippines, it's actually referring to the region, but let's go on. Ruled under the Mexico-based viceroyalty of New Spain, and that's when the zealotry really started kicking in. Language and religion changes, culture being destroyed, etc. 1898, 100 years before Microsoft's abomination that we needed badly. The Philippines was ceded to the United States by Spain in the Treaty of Paris to end the Spanish-American War, and was a territory of the United States from 1898. So we have, at that point, pretty much, we're going to say from 1565, 1516, 17, 1865. That's 300 years of destroying data. And we only have 2 records. Basically, Ferdinand Magellan, he didn't get erased. Anything from that point forward wasn't erased as long as it didn't contradict the belief system and history teachings. And 1 copper plate so far. Unless you have better data, it's oral tradition that something was done at some time. And if it was written down at one point or another, that's great. But you have to prove it was written down then, not created after the fact by a dictator, or worse, some charlatan or huckster on Facebook. Let's continue. 1899, First Philippine Republic and the Philippine-American War started immediately. No time for having royalty here. 1900, the Act number 52 by the First Philippine Commission placed all Philippine banks under the Philippine Bureau of the Treasury and authorized the Philippine Insular Treasury to supervise. 2 years later, the First Philippine Republic and the Philippine-American War ended, creating the First Philippine Republic, specifically for a specific reason. The U.S. Congress passed the Philippine Organic Act to create a Philippine Assembly for pseudo-self-rule and or self-rule at a later date. Now we're in the 20th century. We are now at the point where you can't claim secret information unless you have a very good source, because the Philippines was filled with people who were now literate from Spanish colonization and could write crap down and go hide things. So let's go on. Or maybe just etch it into a wall. Got one? Nope. Let's continue. 1916, the Jones-Philippine Autonomy Act officially declared that the U.S. would grant independence to the Philippines as soon as physically possible or at some future date. We didn't want to own it or anything. For very good reasons, and also for financial reasons, we were just dumping it. 1929, the Philippine Bureau of Banking Department of Finance took over bank supervision. 1933, the USA passed laws setting a process and date for the Philippines' independence from the USA. 1934, the Tidings-McGuffey Philippines Independence Act created a 1935 Philippines Commonwealth. That's when the Commonwealth happened. 1935 Philippine Commonwealth Constitution established also a 1946 July 4th Independence Day. Next, 1942, Japan occupied the Philippines during World War II. 1945, the U.S. military overpowered the Japanese and ended this occupation and was able to continue the independence process. 1946, July 4th, the Philippines' Third Republic independence from the USA became an independent country with U.S. military presence left in the place as a deal. Mostly for protection, and self-reliance was not able to be done at the time. 1962, Presidential Proclamation 28 changed this Independence Day to June 12th, the traditional time when the independence was declared originally and was put down. The Marcos era started in 1965, and now I got to give props. Marcos became the first president of the Philippines to achieve a second term at that time, which is kind of cool. Marcos declared martial law in 1972 in Proclamation number 1081 to create a new society. You can read all about that. I've already done a video about it. Let's just skip this. 1973, new Marcos Constitution changed the form of government to parliamentary, so he could keep himself in office potentially. 1974, May 24th, the Philippines President Ferdinand Marcos Memo Order 427 said the Sultan of Sulu, this is something you should look up, has always been recognized with Muhammad such and such as the legitimate claimant of the historical territories of the Republic of Philippines. So that is the only, it's a sultany, not a kingdom. So that's the only one that was receiving a nod. Let's see what happened to that. 1986, Corazon C. Aquino won the election and Marcos era ended. 1987, a new presidential government, Freedom Constitution ratified, and the Fifth Republic started under this new constitution. This keeps happening. 1990, the end of the 6 unsuccessful coup attempts trying to overthrow it by force. And if you're not aware of this, most of the propaganda you're reading about the Philippines comes from people who want to bring back those bad old days of coup attempts by having a royalty ordained by God running, because that's better than you guys being able to vote someone out who's a corrupt politician. 1992, permanent U.S. military presence in the Philippines ended. It resumed later, but this is when we and they were literally no longer connected, and this could be considered a true independent state at this point. finally. And yeah, we propped up the Marcoses, and it's our fault, I understand that, but let's continue. 1993, July 3rd, pursuant to provision of Republic Act 7653, the New Central Bank Act of 1993 created the New Central Bank of the Philippines, establishing it, and the original 1949 was declared bankrupt, no longer existent, shut down completely, either to just simply start over and get a better system going, or to maybe eliminate some corruption. Do you want to return the bad old days? Well, there's a Facebook page that does want you to bring that back. How long was this after the military exit? Yeah, after the United States exited. So if you're looking for a conspiracy of some banking hoarding of gold, this is the year it would happen, and it would be under the new central bank, not under the one that's been claimed as having supremacy by claiming a god birthright. That's what royalty's based on. On the 100th year of independence from Spain, it was celebrated, 1998. And then Microsoft Corporation dropped a bomb. 2007, sometime or someplace, Gloria, I can't pronounce her, wanted to alter the Constitution to a federal parliamentary unicameral government to stay in power just like the other one did. Stay vigilant and fire these people. Next, 2016, all 5 contestant sultans of Sulu consolidated and strengthened their sultanese unity so that they could claim more control. So you might want to look for some of the conspiracy theories and propaganda coming from them, because they wish to become able to claim some sort of rule by throne. Next, the Philippines by 2017 had not officially recognized who or which Sultan of Sulu was legitimate. So before that, they decided to come together and make themselves a group. 2017, President Rodrigo Duterte signed Proclamation number 216 declaring a 60-day martial law due to something completely unrelated. It was. Next, 2018, Banga Sug Consensus of Sultans of Sulu established Zambu Sultani federal state through a federal form of Philippine government, because they want to have official recognition of a lineage that you can't fire from office. I'm not saying it's the sultans trying to get you to claim this BS. I'm saying you're dealing with charlatans claiming this, like Karen Hoods and somebody claiming that their ID number is 666. But the real devil in the details is there's still a sort of an actual royalty wanting to be a sultany, a group who cannot be deposed and will jealously hold on to power or hurt people over it, maybe. I don't know. And then on the other end of it are religious fanatics that want to make it into an Islamic state. They're dwindling, because if the Philippines is a united country without lies and without falsehoods, they're going to be pretty close to impossible to depose. The only threat they have right now is China flexing muscles, or maybe some other country. And they're quite capable of negotiating with China, in my opinion. So somebody wants to undermine that. Lots of people do. The whole of Indonesia, the whole area, anywhere around the South China Sea, is very volatile. The original 1949 January 3rd Philippine Central Bank went bankrupt in 1993, July 3rd, just before, at the time, what was their Independence Day. And they made a new one just in time for non-traditional Independence Day. Independence from America Day. Flexing their muscles. Somebody didn't like that, and they want their kingdom back. Their kingdom has not come. So they're fighting the good fight on Facebook. You decide. It's not my dog or fight. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. Watch out for the rabies.